Kia ora, and welcome to Big Boys Boxing.
I was in the gym the other day. Oh, he's out cold! Straight to his face!
Oh my goodness!
Let's take a short hook on the inside. Crap! Boom! Look, here comes another one. Here comes another one. 3 punches to the butt on the inside. Short, compact hook, and that man is marbleized onto the mat.
Kia ora team, and welcome to Big Boys Boxing for today's preview and prediction of 2 heavyweight fights that are happening this weekend. There will be Junior Fa and Lucas Brown, and there's also Hemi Ahio v Christian Soy. So we'll start with Junior Fa v Lucas Brown, but stay tuned because the second one is going to be interesting. So firstly, looking at Junior Fa, he is 19-1. He is 32 years of age. He is 6'5". He's orthodox, and he has 80.5-inch reach. Now, he hasn't fought for quite some time. His last fight was against Joseph Parker in New Zealand. That was back in February of 2021. So he's had a bit of a layoff after a decent payday, I guess. But he had been on the rise before fighting Parker, fighting a fair few kind of journeyman level guys like Devin Vargas, like Dominic Gwynn, who actually dropped him. But that was the only round Dominic Gwynn beat him in. Newfell Owata. Yeah, there's a few names on there that you'd recognize as journeyman, but never really hit the proper contender level, really. This fight for him is for name recognition, pretty much only. So moving on to Lucas Brown, who is 30-3 with no draws. He is 43 years old. That's right, 43, old as dirt. He's 6'5". He has a 77-inch reach, and yeah, he is coming off a win in a very entertaining fight he had against Fa Hemi Ahio, or Django Apelu. This is what people call him. That fight was in December of last year. In that fight, Fa Hemi Ahio was beating the living snot out of Lucas Brown for 5 rounds. But then he gassed out, and Lucas Brown started coming forward, throwing some heavy shots once Django had slowed down and knocked him out in the 7th round. Prior to that, he fought Paul Gallen, the rugby league player, and he got knocked out in the 1st round. Paul Gallen's not a big fighter. He's only about 6 foot, or 6'1" or something like that, and he just came forward with a whole lot of volume and stopped Brown. Prior to that, he fought another rugby league player, John Hopewadi, who's also old as dirt, and he managed to TKO him in the 2nd round. Prior to that, he fought Dave Allen, and we know what happened there. He got sparkoed by the White Rhino in the 3rd round. Before that was Kamil Sokolovsky. That fight went the distance. I believe it was in Scotland. And it was a PTS win over 6. I thought Sokolovsky actually won that fight. It was close, but I thought Sokolovsky won it. Before that, he fought Junior Putty in New Zealand. That fight should never have happened. He beat Junior Putty easy. Before that was Julius Long, the 7'2" monster, who he managed to stop in 3 rounds. The only notable win really for Lucas Brown was a knockout win over Ruslan Chagayev, and that was for the WBA regular title. So he did win that title, but he did have it stripped not long after because he had clenbuterol in his system. So, he's still living off that title fight. We also saw him get knocked out by Dillian Whyte. That fight went 6 rounds, believe it or not. But that was the start of Lucas Brown's demise. And that fight was way back in 2018. So this fight between these two, for me, is pretty much for name recognition for Junior Fa. Nothing more, nothing less. I expect Junior Fa to be able to stop him. But there is some factors to think about. Junior Fa is a quiet, shy type, and he's never fought in front of 50,000 fans before. So I'm expecting maybe Junior's going to start a little slow. I mean, the power is the last to go for the old boy and Big Dummy Brown. But I expect Junior to be a little nervous, start a little slower. So I don't expect the first or second round KO here. It might even get to 6-7 rounds before Junior stops him, before Junior gets the confidence to come forward. But we will see. So I'm picking round 6, Junior Fa for this fight. So now the interesting one. Hemi Ahio taking on Christian Tszyu. Now Christian Tszyu is a replacement opponent. It was initially supposed to be John Bones Jones, which probably would have been a better career move for Hemi Ahio, but don't judge a book by its cover. Let's get into the fighters. So Hemi Ahio, who is 18-0, he is the current and inaugural Middle Eastern heavyweight champion. He picked that belt up in his last fight against Mo Ali Bayat. But he is 31 years old. He is only 6 foot tall and has a short reach of 73 inches. So he is a little dude. But he is one of my favorite fighters. If you haven't seen him, there's plenty of footage out there and you can see why. He is an entertainment machine. Now, like I said, his last fight was against Mo Ali Bayat, and that fight was in 2021 in September. So he's had a bit of a layoff, but fear not, he's in the gym every day. He works hard, this boy. He's in at CKB, which is City Kickboxing in New Zealand, the same gym as Dan Hooker and Israel Adesanya, but they do have a few other boxers in there as well. Junior Fa had been training there. I know he's got a new trainer in Kevin Barry, but I see he's still hanging around in the CKB gym anyway. But moving on. Prior to fighting Mo Bayat, Hemi fought the monster, Julius Long, 7-2 monster. And that was the second time he fought Julius Long. He did actually get dropped in that fight, but he still managed to stop Julius Long in the 7th round. Prior to that, he fought in America on the undercard of Junior Fa. Can't remember who he was fighting. Might have been Newfell Ota. He fought Joshua Tufty, which I thought was going to be maybe a turning point. American card, American journeyman level guy, but Joshua Tufty can fight a bit. At the time, he was 19-3. It was a fairly decent fight. Hemi broke him down some and then stopped him in the 2nd round. It was a pretty quick fight. I thought, okay, it's onwards and upwards from there, but no such luck. Prior to that was a fight you can find on YouTube against Ali Qaiden. Ali Qaiden at the time was also 8-0, unbeaten, and he is another entertainment machine. These guys just went at it from the opening bell. Both guys were taking some heavy shots but dishing them out at the same time, but Hemi managed to stop him with a wicked combination, left hook, right hook, had Kaiden up against the ropes and stopped them in the first round. Fully sparkoed him. I mean, Kaiden got up and then fell over and tried to hold on to the referee to keep on his feet. Before that, he fought Julius Long for the first time, and that fight went the distance over 6, and it was a unanimous decision. And the one other one to note, he did actually fight for the New Zealand title against Daniel Tai, who is a very tough level journeyman, domestic level guy, but he's pretty damn hard to knock out. That fight went the full 10 rounds and he got the UD. However, in that fight, Hemi had some shoes that were slipping on the canvas. Every time he tried to step into a shot, his back foot would slide out. But that's pretty much Hemi Ahio in a nutshell. Like I say, he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. He's an entertainment machine. I wish Lou DiBella would do more with him. He brings a lot of excitement to undercards. But we'll see where he goes. This fight is going to be interesting. So now looking at Christian Tszyu. He's 5-4. Doesn't look like a good record. He's also got 2 draws. But don't let it fool you. I will leave a link to his last fight. Was against Justis Huni. Justis Huni's 3rd fight in his professional career. And this will give you a really good idea about what this dude can do. But he was born in Cameroon, but he's living in Australia now. He is orthodox. He has no registered height and reach. But looking at the video against Justis Huni, I'm guessing he's between 6'2 and 6'3 with maybe a 75 to 77 inch reach, somewhere there. So like I say, his last fight was against Justis Huni, and that fight went the distance. Y'all should know who Justis Huni is. He's a very good Australian prospect, very fast, very skilled. He just missed out on the Olympics because of an injury, and I would have said he was the guy who had the most chance of upsetting Bakadir Jalilov at the Olympics if he had got there. Unfortunately, his promoters had pushed him to fight too close to the Olympics. He got an injury and couldn't go. It was very unfortunate. But anyway, to Christian Tszyu, he's also fought Hunter Sam, who is a very awkward, tricky character. At the time, he was 11-14, Hunter Sam with 2 draws. But he got a technical decision draw. It was stopped in the 2nd round, I assume because of an injury or a cut or something. So the technical draw is what it is against Hunter Sam. Prior to that, he fought an easy opponent. I won't even try and mention the guy's name. He was 8-15. He won that one via KO in the 1st round. But the more interesting ones here, he fought Joseph Goodall, who is a very good young prospect. At the time, he was 6-0, and he fought him to a majority draw over 6. That was the 2nd time he fought Joseph Goodall. Who else is on here? I'm sure I saw Fainga Apilu on here. The first time he fought Joseph Goodall was Joseph Goodall's 4th professional fight, and that was a unanimous decision to Goodall over 4 rounds. Yes, here's Fainga Apilu. He fought Fainga in 2018, and he beat Fainga Apilu over 3 rounds. split decision. In those early rounds, Fainga Apelu is a pretty decent fighter. When I first heard that Hemi was going to be fighting Joe Jones, I thought, don't like the opponent, the record's alright. I would have preferred Fainga Apelu. At least we'd get some action and this would look good. And this guy beat Fainga Apelu over 3 rounds, in the rounds where Fainga is more dangerous. So this guy can fight, despite his record saying 5-4 with 2 draws. Don't let that fool you. This could be a problem for Hemi Ahio, because this guy can box. This guy looks like he's got a bit of a punch. He's never been stopped, so he is very, very durable. We got us an entertaining fight here, so it will be interesting. The fight is 8 rounds, so there should be time for these guys to put their foot on the hammer without having to conserve too much. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think if Hemi's going to get a stoppage, it's going to be in the 7th or 8th round, but I'm not so sure he can, and I'm only tentative whether he can actually win this. Hemi Ahio does have a very strong punch. Ask Malik Scott. You can search on YouTube and find Malik Scott saying he's one of the hardest hitters he's sparred with. He's only 6 foot tall and has a very short reach, but his short hooks and uppercuts are deadly. So my official prediction, round 7, Hemi Ahio stops Christian Tsoy for the first time in his career. It's going to be a great card. Of course, the main event is George Kambosos Jr. v Devin Haney for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. So don't miss it. It's going to be an awesome night, morning, whatever, or wherever you are is boxing. I'm looking forward to it. Let us know your predictions for these 2 heavyweight fights, and might as well give me yours for the main event as well. Also, another one to look out for on the card is Kiwi Olympian David Naika, who is having his 3rd professional fight, and it's in a 5-rounder, so there'll be no draws on this one. And he is fighting Kareem Matala, who is 2-1. So that'll be interesting as well. But that's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you have. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content. And I will catch you in the next one. I'm Jono from Big Boys Boxing, and I'm out. So